Or else say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? Allow us to begin with a reminder that we are now at this timing in our interactions with each and every one of you, to some degree, pulling back a little bit to allow each and every one of you to remember that you are the creators of your experiential reality, and that anything that you may, quote unquote, learn from us will simply be a reflection from us of that which you already know yourself to be, and which we choose to reflect back to you in our expression of our faith in you, our expression of our belief in you. But remember, our ability to share with you our expression of our belief in you would not be possible if you did not have the capacity to believe in yourself. For then we would not have that to be able to reflect to you. You would not be of the vibration that would attract our ability to reflect that to you. Recognize, therefore, that in these interactions, a bit at a time, though we will be interacting and sharing with you in many different ways, all of it now will be focused toward the understanding that we will be pulling back a little bit as a sign that you do not need us that much in that way, that you really do not need us at all, but that you now can be willing to know that the actions you take in your life, the decisions you make in your life, are fully under your own conscious commandment. If you wish, that is your title, conscious commandment. What is conscious commandment? Many individuals, as we have perceived these interactions with your society, understand ideas of the unconscious, the subconscious, the outer aware consciousness, that which you term your physical consciousness, as you say, and also what you may refer from time to time to as the higher consciousness. All of these, in a sense, while descriptive of the overall illusion you have created, are also still simply labeled, and in this sense can be melded, blended, pooled together into simply one recognition of the one consciousness that you are, each and every one of you individually and collectively. Recognize that many of you, because you have the idea that your power somehow for creating your physical reality lies somewhere up there in your higher consciousness, way out of reach sometimes, you think. Because you hold that notion, because you hold that point of view, you do not allow yourselves many times to realize the power of your conscious decision-making ability. You, as a being, as a physical being, have what you term free will, the ability to choose, to decide what you prefer in life, to decide what you prefer to desire in life. This ability, conscious choice, is, if you are willing to understand it, the same thing as the same commandment you usually typify your higher consciousness as having. You are your higher consciousness anytime you choose to believe that you are. If you know you as a physical consciousness are functioning within your excitement, expressing your desire, expressing your integrity, and being of service while expressing who you know yourself to be, then the choices that you make in life, the conscious free will choices that you create, is the same thing as the type of commandment over the occurrences in your physical reality that you usually give to your higher consciousness? Simply knowing that you making conscious choices is all that it takes to create the reality you desire is your willingness to function as your higher consciousness in physical terms. You have every ability to be the expression of your higher consciousness. Many of you think that communicating with your higher consciousness still involves some sort of separate communication between separate things. True, immediate communication with your higher consciousness is the willingness to act as your higher consciousness would act if it were physical, which it is. So know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you're functioning within your integrity and desire and service, then the things that excite you in life, your decision to do those things is your ability to exercise conscious commandment over your reality. And it is that simple. What you decide to decide is true for you is what your reality will be. And it is that simple. Your higher consciousness will pay attention because you are the expression of your higher consciousness in physical terms. You do not need to continue. Not that it is not valid as a way to look at it, not that it is not valid as a process to get yourself more and more used to the understanding that you are your higher consciousness, not that it is not valid to have what you perceive to be remote communication with the higher consciousness. That is valid. But the more willing you are to recognize your ability to act in the moment as your higher consciousness, simply because you choose to, if you are willing to recognize that it is that simple, then your life will unfold as simplicity itself. You will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you do create your reality. For every single circumstance and situation in your life will be the reflection and the feedback that will always prove to you that what you have decided to choose will be reflected back in your life. All you need to do is understand that many of the things that you buy into as belief systems, upon which many times you base the foundation of your experience, are not always really representative of a true foundation. They are these things upon which you base your existence many times just as much of an assumption as any belief that you base upon it. You can't take it all the way back to primal fundamental creation. The only one fundamental reality or truth that exists for everyone in creation is simply the fact that you exist. That's it. Everything else, every other experience, every other way in which you experience the fact that you exist is up to you because of what you decide you will choose to experience one way or another, for one reason or another, positive or negative, fear or joy. 'Tis up to you. You exist, and you always will exist, because existence is eternally now. Any manifestation of existence comes from your choices, your decisions, your conscious commandment. Many of you may say, well, yes, but I have expressed unconscious commandments from time to time that my conscious mind is not aware of, and these unconscious commandments sometimes are what is responsible for creating the reality that I may not prefer. But again, remember, if you are aware that the commandment is coming from somewhere within you, it can be a conscious commandment. Your ability, your willingness to simply know that at least on some level of your consciousness, as you have created it to have levels to begin with, the creation of the reality is coming from you somewhere. Let yourself know that when we say conscious commandment, this does not mean that the specifics of how you are attracting the realities you are experiencing need to necessarily be analytically or logically understood in thought form, but simply your knowledge that you do create your reality based upon your belief. That knowledge and the willingness to act in life as if that is certain knowledge will always allow you the ability to feel that no matter where the creation comes from, no matter what level, it is still within your conscious control, your conscious commandment. For once again, unconscious knowingness is the same thing as conscious unknowingness, which is another way of saying that you simply consciously do not want to know. If you consciously do not want to know, then you will unconsciously know. But that is only, in many ways, not meaning to be derogatory, an excuse. You know it somewhere within you, and when you remove the idea that you exist in levels, when you remove the idea that you exist in parts, then you will allow all of the previously created levels of consciousness to melt into one understanding, which can simply then be expressed in whatever way it needs to be expressed at any given moment to let you live the life you choose to live. Conscious commandment. You have it right now. The decisions you make in life will stick. The decisions you make will stick. If you simply make them based upon your trust that you are following what excites you, doing what is true for you within integrity, then there is no reason to assume, unless of course you choose to, that the conscious decisions you make will not create your reality as you desire to see it. You all follow along. We thank you for this opportunity of sharing, and therefore, in continuation of our interactions with you, we simply ask at this time, how may we serve you?
Hi, Bashar. It's Million.
Hi.
Hi. Well, I feel I've soared very high this week.
All right.
I had a breakthrough in my channeling and channeled an extraterrestrial who claims to know you.
In a sense.
In a sense. And
an acquaintance, sort of.
Okay. Speak up. Okay. An acquaintance, sort of. And then I got into an opportunity of manifesting the kind of prosperity that I've always felt was right. And then yesterday afternoon I manifested about 2 inches of doubt.
All right, 2 inches of doubt.
And I said, oh, no big deal, 2 inches of doubt, no big deal. And that doubt, though, I feel I'm stumbling on it.
In what way?
I don't know. It seems rather insignificant, and it seems rather important.
Well, nothing is insignificant.
I mean, compared to everything else that's been going on, it's very small.
All right.
And yet, for some reason, I've got it here in my throat.
All right. Perhaps simply that is because you are focusing upon its insignificance, which makes it seem larger than it is. Because that's all you're looking at. Perhaps allow yourself once again, if you are going to doubt, the benefit of the doubt. If doubt is what you are going to focus upon.
Oh, yes. Paint it red and feature it.
If you wish.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
But the idea simply, many times, is no matter how small anything is that you do not prefer, if that's all you're looking at, it's going to seem to encompass your entire field of vision.
Oh, yes, of course.
Look at all of the things in which you do not doubt.
Yes.
Feel what that is like, and simply apply that same trust and certainty to this situation.
Oh,
and let it change, so that you do not have to make it change. You follow me?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So then the question I really wanted to ask, that was sort of in the way of, was if you could shed some light or share anything with me about the extraterrestrial who I seem to be channeling and who is a sort of an acquaintance of yours. I would just love to hear anything that you can share with me about that.
All we can share at this time is that it is an association energy, and that it is indicative to some degree of the work you are doing in dispensing information, in networking, in that sense. Its propensity, that being's propensity, is also for the purposes of networking, plugging information into information. It is one of the coordinative beings of the association that allows there to be fluidity of communication between many of the different civilizations in the association. So you are exemplifying the same traits in this life. And therefore you have attracted someone that has, shall we say colloquially, the same type of job.
Oh, that's great, because during some of these things that I've been doing to, the processes, I keep getting this sort of a thought form that I'm something like a stargate, and I'm not sure what that means.
It's all right. The idea, perhaps, put in other terminology, and again, not meaning to limit something by labeling it, but perhaps an apropos title meant generally, just as reference, for this being would be facilitator. You follow me?
Yes.
Will that do?
Yes.
Facilitator is a gate.
Oh.
The gate is a facilitator. That which allows others to pass through it.
Yes.
To promote communication. That is a gate. It is a link, a tunnel, a conduit between that which exists at either end.
Yes, it feels like between the star family and the Earth family.
In a sense, but also between many Earth groups and other Earth groups.
Yes.
That is what you are doing.
Yes, very strongly. Yes.
Thank you for willing to be that gate, that tunnel, that channel.
You
are channeling by bringing information and connecting various groups even on your own planet. That is also channeling.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you.
Can you tell me when the soul of a person enters the uterus and the unborn child?
This will vary from individual to individual, but generally speaking, even though a portion of the consciousness is within the embodiment, even at conception, what you recognize as the personality soul, that which you would call the persona, usually does not enter until literally just prior to, or right at, or just even after sometimes physical birth. It is usually within the actual birthing time frame.
Just the persona soul comes in.
What you recognize as the soul, what you call the soul typically in your society, usually does not enter until right at birth. Although, recognize, of course, that a body, in a sense, in any form, is a soul, is a spirit in physical terms. But what you call the persona aspects do not usually manifest until right at birth, and sometimes not even for a while after. And sometimes come and go for up to as much of what you call 3 years of time without truly locking in, depending upon the reasons that that individual soul has for that experience.
I see.
Also, no matter what occurs to that physiological body, that is by understood agreement.
Not trying to tell me something, are you?
Am I?
And about this particular one, I was wondering if you had any feelings or sharings on this particular soul.
Understand generally, for now, that every, basically, child being born upon your planet at this time is indicative of the transformational age and has agreed to be born in your society at this time, generally to be of assistance in accelerating the transformation from third to fourth density, what you might term colloquially old to new age awareness, what you might also term from limitation to expansion and unlimitedness. Most of the children being born now will remember very much more of who and what they are. They will forget far less than you did. And many of them will remind the adults of what all the agreements actually are. You follow me?
Yes.
This in general will be true of this. There will be some specifics, but at this timing, some of the specifics are not completely determined by that consciousness.
Do you have any feelings on...
There may be, since this has been strong in past lives, musical inclination.
That'd be amazing.
Why?
Because I don't have any.
That does not mean anything.
Right. I've often thought about birthing with dolphins, and
You can, whether you are in the water or not.
just through the consciousness.
Yes. The energy itself, if you simply call upon them, will be there. They can project. Wrap yourself in a blue energy field that will allow their consciousness to participate. And do remember, by all means, allow the child to participate as well. Then you are not bearing the burden of the entire idea, and it will not be painful in the least. In the least. You will flow the life into your world. Let the dolphins assist you by teaching you the true relaxation of expansion on all levels. Allow the child, by being in touch telepathically with the child, to assist in its own birth. Allow the total event to simply occur in the present moment. And it will be effortless. Effortless. Simply think of the dolphin consciousness. They will be there. All right?
Thank you.
Pleasant dreams.
Thank you very much.
Sharing.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you.
My love to you and all of us. My life has changed totally once again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I went to Florida with Boris and the group, and we swam with dolphins, played with dolphins, communicated with them, felt their love, extended hours. I just wanted to share that with you because it was almost impossible to put into words.
That's the whole idea.
Yes, I've been realizing that. So it's interesting to stand here and try to verbalize a little of it to share with you and the rest of the group here, because I know a lot of people here are very interested in dolphins. I wonder if you could reflect to me a bit about some of the changes that are going on. I know we talked about not so analytical, more feeling, and I have been doing that. The first 2 days after I got back, there was a lot of actually almost pain and ache in the solar plexus, and also a lot of physical muscles that were aching because of the unexpected use of them with dolphin poles and so forth. And I feel like I'm integrating on so many levels.
Of course, all of them.
Yes.
That also is the whole idea.
This is true.
Well,
what can you tell me I don't already know?
I don't know.
I was afraid it might come to this.
You simply are beginning to find yourself speechless.
True.
But you are saying more than you might know on other levels, emotionally. Again, tell empathically.
Thank you. That is true, and I realize it more and more, and I just today received a wonderful letter from a friend of mine and a subscription to my Dolphin newsletter, and she sent me a story that was so touching, an actual encounter that she had with a dolphin in Mexico many years ago.
Then simply allow yourself to continue to be touched and touch others wherever you wish to go. We thank you for your action, for it is action in your world, the expression of your beliefs, that actually represents equal communication with us and with the dolphins and with all members of the association. It is action as you already as a society know, that speaks far louder than words.
Thank you very much.
We thank you for your action.
I just do want to say one more thing, and that is that when I read her letter, it made me realize again why I'm interested in this endeavor, and it's to help so many of us make those connections that often we've forgotten about. And it's so moving spiritually, physically, emotionally, and mentally too, but particularly the emotions.
Yes.
Thank you, Bashar.
Oh, we thank you very much for remembering who and what you are. Let me share a little something with you in the vein you call humor, if you will.
Please.
Well, simply, there was and is from time to time in encountering new civilizations that have not necessarily experienced the type of interactions with other civilizations that we have with you. Just to put it simply, when we tell them that we are involved in assisting a civilization to remember who it is, well, you should see the wide-eyed stares.
Hard to believe.
For them. But in this way, allow me now to say, if I may, I would not trade it for the world.
I have a feeling neither would we.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to experience all of you.
Thank you. Good night.
Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
And you for being there.
Thank you. I would like some more information about conscious commandment, which my question has something to do with, and also excitement.
All right.
And it is, the question involves something between my husband and I, because I feel that marriage becomes another energy.
In a sense, yes. It is representative of an energy.
And with that other energy, for example, I had a message the other night to give up the job I do that gives me my income and make room for something new. I've already created new work in my life that excites me. It just doesn't pay me any money. I ran home to my husband in great excitement and I said, I can give up my work now, isn't that wonderful? And he went, no, it's not a really good time to do that. And I was thinking, well, I would really like to do that. It does excite me, and I have trusted before.
All right.
And how does that work when you have two people with a third energy and they're
If you
working with
know
excitement?
you are operating within your integrity, if you know you are following what excites you, then any polarity you are presented from another individual is simply your opportunity to decide whether you truly do believe in yourself or not.
I see. Yeah.
Because you, first and foremost, you yourself, with creation, you are the primary marriage.
The question was to do with community. I was thinking, well, this is great for me, but is it great for my community? And that was an earthly question.
Do you believe that you function with an integrity?
Yes.
Then by definition, do you not understand that anything you could attract yourself to will obviously serve all concerned?
I hadn't known that, yes.
Does not the definition go hand in hand? If you know that you are willing to be of service by being who you are, then why not simply assume that the only circumstances you will attract will be those that will allow you to be of service, and that it will benefit all concerned?
Good.
But that doesn't mean that other individuals may not express other opinions that are contrary to yours. Even that, your willingness to be who you are and allow them to experience who you are, whether they go along with it or not, may still be representative of being of service to them by allowing them to see yet another way that someone can exist by following their trust.
Well, that trust is the way I've lived my life as long as I can remember. So it is a new way of being for the other person. True.
Not really. But maybe perhaps in the way they are applying their trust, maybe that is something they simply have not recently considered. Or not considered for a long time.
Okay.
But it is not new. All of you use your trust to create every reality you experience. It just depends whether you have trust in negativity or trust in positivity. Where do you have the greater trust? That will determine the type of effect you get out of your life. That's all. You all use trust. You all trust in something. Depends upon whether you prefer what you're trusting in or not. Does that assist you?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and thank him.
Oh, I do. We thank you, too. I do have something else. I was given a tape about the internal use of hydrogen peroxide. Are you familiar with what that does?
To some degree, it can be of benefit in extremely small amounts. Very rarely.
Uh-huh. I was advised that it would help me.
Perhaps.
By its use. And the tape that I heard on it today just sounded wonderful.
All right.
Why does the world not know about hydrogen
Trust
peroxide?
your instincts, because not everyone needs it.
Uh-huh.
Trust your instincts. It is an idea that is finding more and more momentum within your overall mass consciousness, but like any other tool, it is not an end-all, be-all.
Mm-hmm.
It is one way.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be applied in many ways. Mm-hmm. Certain individuals may simply find the invigorating activity of its chemical components as stimulating even just to the energy field around them, and that may be enough. You follow me?
Yes. Yes.
So, follow your instincts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that assist you?
Yes, it does.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you.
I've been in contact with an extraterrestrial for about 4 or 5 years now. And can you shed some light on an incident that happened over a year ago?
Maybe.
I have a replica of this planet that he comes from. In fact, he led me to this replica. And since I've had this planet, a little black hole has appeared on the planet itself. And the last year, it has grown in circumference. Since a year ago, I have had no contact with the ET. Can you shed some light on this? And the planet is called Gamil. Can you tell us what role this planet plays in the association?
First, we will ask, in what way was your contact accomplished?
Through dreams.
Was there an identification, or at least what you might call a name, provided for reference?
Yes, Elin.
Did you receive an indication as to the so-called purpose of the contact?
Yes, it was. It was to enlighten me, to enlighten other people through his information.
About?
About spreading love, about the New Age, about also getting ready for UFO contact.
Did it, in your terms, commence just the 5 of your years ago, or were there previous connections?
I've had previous connections with this ET, yes, in many lifetimes.
Within this lifetime, are there incidents that stretch back at least as far as 10 of your years, previous to what you perceive to be the dream contact?
Possibly subconscious, consciously no. Consciously, I came in contact 5 years ago.
We would, first of all, suggest that there may be individuals who can be of assistance to you in recalling that there may have been earlier contact that you simply are not aware of now, and this knowledge may assist you. They may be able to bring it out of you, in a sense, in what you might call hypnotic states, or relaxed or meditative states. You follow me?
Yes.
We might suggest this, if it interests you, as an endeavor.
Very much.
Now, imagine your brain. Picture your brain, and picture it right at the center of your brain also is a black hole, a gate, a door. At this time, in your estimation, what percentage of the replica of the world is covered in black?
Maybe a third.
All right, very good. Then to some degree, you can consider it like what you might call a clock. And it is to some degree an indication of the rate at which your planet and other civilizations of the association are coming into an opportunity to interact more and more obviously. Let us say, therefore, not that it cannot accelerate greatly, but specifically with regard to that energy, you and your world are approximately 1/3 of the way towards full contact. Now, as you describe the idea, and this will fit in with the timing we understand, of already having passed through 5 of your years, then recognize again another decade will represent the final 2/3 at this timing. And within that decade is when our ability and the ability of many other members of the association will be at a peak in terms of being able to physically interact with you.
I see.
So it is like unto what you call a sand clock. The blackness represents the gate, the contact gate, the absorption gate, through which you are stepping as a society. And as you watch it engulf the entire replica, that will literally give you a specific physiological time frame, a representation of how your energy as a society is accelerating towards being equal to that society, to our society, to all other societies within the association. Represents the time frame that makes it more available for you to consciously join, if you wish, the association of worlds. Do you follow me?
Yes, I do.
It is much like your hourglass in that sense. And the blackness simply represents the doorway through which the connections are being made, and the mental link-ups that are being made, and indicating the percentage of the society with which those link-ups are being made. Fully now, therefore, you can understand that whether it appears on the surface or not, collectively in all the different ways you have of expressing it, fully 1/3 of your society is aimed in the direction we are speaking. It will not be too long before the majority is aimed in that direction. For you have long since passed the threshold point, and it is now on automatic, so to speak, logarithmically accelerating. Does this assist you?
Oh, very much so.
Also continue. Pay attention to your dreams in this way. There is not much at this time that we can specifically tell you about that particular civilization, other than, for now, there are many interactions, and there are, in this way specifically, the timekeeping aspect that will allow you to always see the progression of how the energy in your society is accelerating. We thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hello.
Hello.
Regarding the laws that we agree to abide by within our universe, does functioning within your integrity mean living up to those agreements?
It depends. The overall agreements do not necessarily have to be restricting if something that you know represents your excitement and integrity can alter them in many ways. If they are then alterable, what you are referring to as laws, then that in and of itself may be a sign of your ability to express your integrity by being able to allow them to transform into something else. Because when you are totally integrated as a whole, then there are fewer and fewer limiting specifics. You follow me? So the alteration of those so-called laws may actually be an expression of your integrity in certain circumstances.
Suppose an individual were to go out and kill 100 people because that's what excites them.
But understand, the idea again is that with integrity means that you are functioning as an integrated being. Integration is functioning as a whole, meaning there is no separation between you and the beings you are killing. In other words, the recognition that all murder is suicide. And if you wish to truly be empowered, then killing off those beings is like hacking off your own arms and legs. And that is not an expression of integrity or power. And also, when you use the term excitement in that sense, usually you will find that it is not precisely excitement that motivates individuals in that direction. It is the negative polarity of the same energy that creates excitement, but the negative polarity is usually expressed as anxiety. You follow me?
Yes, suppose the victims agreed to be victims.
That does not excuse the perpetrator for not being strong enough to not fall into the victim's game.
What would be the consequences then of violating integrity in this fashion?
Perhaps you will create another scenario wherein you will have learned that the violation of integrity in that sense does not serve to empower you, and then you will express a lifetime, maybe, or an experience where you will be the expression of integrity. Some individuals may choose to have other individuals attempt to violate them as a sort of what you call quid pro quo exchange. That is not necessary all the time. An individual who murders an individual in one life does not necessarily have to be murdered in another life, although many have sought the balance in that way. An individual can perhaps talk someone out of murdering someone else and fulfill the same balance. You follow me? But the overall idea, of course, on every fundamental level, is that to the oversoul, all experiences are learning experiences. And since you truly are infinite and indestructible, no matter what you have done, whether it be positive or negative, whether it be an expression of integrity or an expression of lack of integrity, you will still exist, you will still learn, you will still grow, you will still change, you will still have new experiences. So in the overall sense, it does not really much matter what you have done. But it is simply up to you to understand that your own life, with the expression of integrity, will be far more joyful, far more connected, far more effortless, and you will be able to create, without any struggle whatsoever, all that you desire. In expressing lack of integrity, you will find that an individual who does that will struggle, will suffer, will feel powerless, will feel out of control, and will create many, many, many versions of their own expression of negativity within themselves and not allow them to enjoy life. You follow me?
Yes. Is self-imposed karma then a way to balance out the integrity agreements?
Sometimes, although again, karma, being completely self-imposed, does not have to manifest in a retribution-style manifestation. Again, the analogy that karma itself is simply the carrying through of a momentum to create a balanced experience. Again, if you have been a murderer in one life, your self-imposed karma does not insist that you be murdered in the next life to atone for that. You may be able to assist someone either who has had someone close to them murdered or someone who wants to murder. You may be able to talk them out of it. And that will be just as much of an expression of your balance and karmic imposition as being murdered in that way. And many times just being murdered is not necessarily a true balance.
The balance is something that's like an absolute that has to be maintained, but the karma does not. That's something that you don't have to have if you don't have that belief system, correct?
In a sense, correct. But the idea simply is, in the fundamental understanding of karma, is that you will usually, since you are a collective event, balance the idea out somewhere within your experience on some level. And that is all karma really is. Of all the balance that you are, all the polarities that you are.
Where did someone like Adolf Hitler come from? I don't understand.
Came from your society. Came as an expression of the combined and collective fears and perhaps some self-imposed karmic balances in a negative way that your society placed upon itself. It was an individual who did not feel their own self-empowerment and so, in your terms, fell into the adoption of the negativity that was sensed in the society and expressed it as a reflective negative mirror back to the society to show the society what the combined ideas of its fears and negative attitudes had been able to create.
That was not functioning within integrity.
No.
Thank you.
Because it was segregated, separated, domineering. That which needs to dominate does not believe it is in control already.
Okay, thank you very much.
Does that assist you?
Yes, very much.
Thank you. Sure.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you.
My question has to do with, I feel like a black kind of heavy little space.
Black kind of heavy little space. Very creative. Put.
And it gets in my way of relationships and of...
It gets in your way. All
right. And of surrendering completely to the moment and to taking all of my power and just being.
All right. May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you sure? You do not sound too sure that you wish me to ask you a question.
I know, I'm scared to death.
Oh, all right. It is all right if you want to be scared to life, too.
Okay.
Now, all right. This question simply is, why do you assume that what you are describing actually gets in your way, as opposed to being a part of the path you are choosing to be? Why do you think it is not a part of your path?
Well, I guess that's what I want to know is what's the agreement to have that I'm finished with it now. I want to be done with that. I want to be able to let that go.
All right.
Different processes.
All right. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Can you define it in any more precise terminology than simply the heavy little black space?
For me, in this right now, it feels like mom. It feels like the unresolved stuff with mommy or something.
All right.
And
can be many of the beliefs you were brought up with.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's what it is. And so I understand all the stuff of your reality being what you created.
Yes.
And so I wonder why I get myself just right up to that point, up to that wall, to that window, to the whatever, and why I just can't just go through it.
All right, all right. May I ask you? All right, I'll ask you. Let me ask you this. What do you imagine would happen if you did go through it?
I guess it comes down to death. I think if I be or whatever who I am or engulf all my power, maybe there's some idea that I won't be loved, and then if I'm not loved, then I don't exist.
Oh,
so if I don't exist, I am dead or
One moment. Your definition contains a contradiction. How can you be all you are and not be loved?
I don't know.
That is a contradiction. It is not possible. You are made of love. How can you be all you are and not be loved?
Because someone told you that or something. So why do you believe it? Why do we believe it when we're kids?
I don't know. Why do you believe it? Why do you choose to exercise your conscious commandment to continue to believe it even though you know what it is you don't want to believe in? Perhaps one of the beliefs you have been taught is that it is not that easy to transform it.
Right. It's always the hard way, the hard way, the hard way, the hard way is the best way. I don't want the hard way. I want the easy way. I'm trying to find the easy way.
You do not have to try to find the easy way. That's not an easy way to find it. An easy way to find the easy way is to simply do the things that are representative of what you imagine the easy way to be, regardless of anything you used to believe in. Also, what may be, in your terms, hanging you up, is simply the belief that you have to dig out all of the old beliefs before you can place new ones in. If you simply act upon whatever new belief you prefer to be true for you, it will automatically replace the old one, whatever it was, for whatever reason it was there. It is also that easy. You do not necessarily have to dredge all the reasons up as to why the old beliefs are there. You may find it difficult to go on simply because you are standing on the threshold, not believing that just activating the new belief will be enough to cancel the old one. But it is.
Is there any, exercise or affirmation or something that can help me let go of this?
There are probably 2,578,934 of them.
Okay.
Now,
Right.
we could give you any number of them. However, your imagination will always alter it to fit your best understanding anyway. So why not begin with your imagination? When you say, is there an exercise, is there a technique? Why not ask your imagination for one? Since your imagination is the primary tool, the reason you have an imagination is for just such a question. What can I do to change into what I desire to be? Imagination, give me a sign. Give me a picture. Give me a feeling, please. It always will. It's the tool that is specifically oriented to the vibration of the person you are. So whatever your imagination gives you will work for you if you trust it. So, in your picturing of what you would prefer to be, how do you imagine if you were that person you prefer to be? How do you imagine you would act that is different from what you are doing now?
I would be more active. I would just get things done. Boom, 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 boom.
Then understand. All you need to do is act that way. And that action will completely cancel any other habits you have.
Okay, so all that stuff about karma with this person or that person or agreements, that really
it's
not
all
necessary.
valid and it's all relevant. But in no way, shape, or form does it control what you decide to be now. It is all a part of what brought you to this point, but it has nothing to do with preventing you from being anything you want. You, right now, just by whatever you define yourself to be right now, will change all the focus of all the past connections to validate what you choose to be right now. The past does not control the present. The present is not a result in a controlling way of the past. You define yourself to be whatever you believe you are at any given moment. If you find that a certain linear idea of your past connections no longer serves the definition you prefer to be, why hang on to that connection? Sever it by redefining yourself and believing in the definition you prefer now. Believing in the definition you prefer now will change your path to accommodate whatever definition you choose to be in the present.
And believing is just your imagination.
Just your imagination and your willingness to act and trust that by acting upon your instinct and following what excites you the most, your physical reality will always reflect that certainty back to you, that choice back to you. That is how the universe works. It works for everyone, no exceptions. It is working for you right now. But it is only reflecting back to you what you are choosing to believe is most true for you. Change your definition, believe in your new definition, act like you believe in your new definition, and your physical reality has no choice but to reflect your belief, your action, your new definition. That is all it really takes. Now, if you believe for any reason, and it does not matter why, if you believe you need a process to acclimate you into the understanding that it's all right to believe you're that powerful, and that it's all right to believe it's that simple and that easy, then by all means attract to yourself a process, a exercise, whatever you find most enjoyable, just because you enjoy it.
Okay.
And that will work for you. Now, one exercise, if you wish, that we did share with you of recent time already exists in what you call your tape form, and there are individuals who can refer you to this exercise, which deals specifically with converting fear into power. And if this works for you, use it. If it doesn't work for you, don't. The idea is to simply trust that you will attract into your life whatever truly will work for you. And lighten up on yourself.
Okay.
There is no real heavy, small, black thing in your way. Only your assumption that there is something in your way creates there to be something in your way. And the only thing that's in your way is an assumption that there is something in your way. That's it. Truly it. Beliefs are what create your apparently solid physical reality. So a solid, strong belief in a very lightweight assumption will create that assumption to seem as if it is made out of steel. And it will seem to be immovable just because that's what your belief does. It solidifies your assumptions. That's it.
Is there any purpose in these beliefs? I mean, do we
You can extract a purpose
beliefs
from anything. Perhaps if you wish again to keep it simple, the fundamental purpose in experiencing limitation is to recognize that you no longer prefer it. And then you will not be limited. You can keep it that simple. All right, I've gone through all of this to recognize now, by being able to compare the ideas I no longer prefer to what I now know I do prefer. I went through all this so I would know beyond a shadow of a doubt what I really prefer. Now, the last step is to simply believe that if you act upon what you prefer, that will be, from that point forward, the reality you will experience. Plain and simple.
So you always know what you prefer. I mean, really.
Yes, you do. You can create a scenario in which it seems you can hide your preferences from yourself. But then, in a sense, to be very basic about it, obviously at that moment that's what you prefer to do. But it is always a matter of conscious commandment. If you are out of control, then you are preferring to be out of control, but you're controlling that scenario. So you are never really out of control.
Okay.
Simply know that. You cannot be truly out of control. You cannot truly be off of your path because you are not on a path. You are a path. You can't be off yourself. You are who you wish to be. You are what you are. You are the creator of your reality. Prefer what you prefer. Believe in it. Act on it. You will always get the reflection back of what you truly prefer.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much for your boldness.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question relative to a mental disorder that my son
right.
afflicted with called schizophrenia.
Ah.
If you have any insight into maybe the origin, possible, the potential cures that may be forthcoming in the ongoing years, I would appreciate your insights into that.
Oh, thank you. I have no insight upon it. However, I do. Therefore, while he is taking a break, I will be glad to share our perspectives on this idea. Fundamentally, fundamentally, what you typically call schizophrenia will usually be indicative of the consciousness's awareness that it is many different persona coexisting at the same time, overlapping in many different lifetimes and dimensions of experience. For whatever the reasons are that are germane to that particular individual, they have chosen to experience more than one of them seemingly within the same time frame structure. Or they have not been given the opportunity to understand how to communicate those two aspects of themselves in a blended way, because you exist in a society that only recognizes one persona at a time and not two existing in that sense. It is not truly, in a sense, a disease fundamentally. The fact that that particular manifestation exists in a very limited type of society makes it diseasing, because there is no way for that individual to learn that they can communicate their experience to the society, because they know it is not acceptable. That's what locks them into the self-perpetuating cycle that allows them no way to truly communicate and understand that their experiences are quite valid and quite real, and that persona, the different personas, are real, distinct personas that do have their own lives, their own validity. It is simply that they are manifesting through what you typically call one expression of embodiment. It is, to some degree, this is extremely colloquial and not necessarily precise, but it will serve as an analogy. To some degree, it can be said it is like having twins in one body. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Now, many of these individuals become what you typically regard as negatively schizophrenic, simply because they are, at a very early age, aware that there are other levels and dimensions of consciousness, and they have free communication with them. Not only do they have free communication with them, but they understand that since every being is every other being, they have free communication as them. All consciousness is the same one consciousness and can express itself in any degree as any persona. This individual is integrated in a different way than the majority of your society. They are integrated in a way that allows them or creates in them the desire for full expression of both of the fragments of their total being that they perceive themselves to be, that are overlapping at this time. But your society has not had a niche for that particular type of expression. And so they become their own society, locked into their own world. You follow me?
Yes, very much so.
When your society begins to understand that every individual is the expression of every other individual that has ever lived or will ever live, and is living now on every different dimensional level, then they will be able to facilitate these individuals by manifesting a type or style of communication that validates the experience instead of invalidating the experience of that individual. All they require, first and foremost, is unconditional love and trust and validation that their experiences are just as real as anyone else's chosen form of expressiveness. Because many of those individuals, if they are allowed lines of communication into your society, can express themselves in the terms you call channeling. In a sense, you could say that the physical channel before you is schizophrenic in the sense that they exhibit more than their allotted personality quotient from time to time. It is simply that this individual has understood the trust that this is something that can be utilized in your society and never believed your society when it said it had no reason or place for that type of expression. Because we are all fragments of each other's consciousness. I am my own being and I have my own validity. The channel is his own being and has his own validity. But we are, at one and the same time, the same being in many ways on different levels. It is simply how it is chosen to be expressed. Individuals that avoid the schizophrenic label perhaps simply go about it more cleverly than others. Do you follow me?
Yes, I do. Question in regards to that, then the best way of coping with that would be to surrender to it. Would
In
that be
a
true?
sense. But this does not mean that you cannot actively investigate and involve what the personality is all about. Dialogue with it. Find out what all the likes, dislikes of the different personalities are, where they feel at home. Find out where each persona feels at home. Allow them all to be validated. One of the fundamental reasons that this is a difficulty in your society is because your society has the strongest habitual penchant for determining that something must either be this or that, when in fact everything is this and that. So validate each of those expressions, each of those experiences on their home ground. Find out who they are and where they are comfortable, and let them know that you know they can coexist. They do not have to fight for domination of the one gateway body that they have to express themselves in. Now, whether or not this will be something that may occur soon in your society, we do not know. But there are societies that do express themselves in the following way I am about to describe, and this is something that may actually be possible in your society, and it has happened from time to time briefly. Individuals expressing more than one persona, as you recognize it in that way, may actually be able to create a physical bilocation, a duplicate body, so that both personas can coexist, and then you would simply see them as physical twins, and then your society would say, that's okay. Because there is a society that actually creates themselves in that way. Any persona they imagine themselves wishing to become, they actually project another physical body to house that persona. When they decide whether or not that's truly the direction they wish to go in, then either, if they decide no, then that extra body vanishes and they pull the personality back in. If they decide yes, then the original body vanishes and they continue in the new one as the new persona. Do you follow me?
Yes, I do. And then dealing with that, then the key word would probably be acceptance.
Oh, yes, on every level. But also imagination, curiosity, exploration, true dialoguing. Bring these personas out. For understand, true unity of any being is the result of the complete equalization and validation of all of its personality aspects. Then a being can function in a unified way, when all of its aspects are equally validated and accepted.
Regardless of the negativity that's hidden in some of those personas?
When you allow them all to be validated, they will not need to express themselves in negative ways, because they will know they are worthy of love, and then they can start loving themselves. And that will form an integration within the being, and you may no longer see a manifestation of either persona. You may see a third, new, integrated persona.
So our traditional way of dealing with that particular dysfunction is absolutely, probably incorrect.
It is simply indicative of many of the limitations you already believe in as a society. But let us simply say it is not conducive to the birthing of the third personality that could result from the blending of the other fragment personas. When they are each allowed to know they can love themselves for who they are, they will not need to express themselves in negative ways. They will learn to live in harmony with themselves. That will allow the being to reintegrate and blend, but it will not be that it will become one or another of the personas already there. It will become a totally new persona.
It's extremely helpful, and I thank you very much, Bashar.
Thank you, and also remember, you are very capable of dialoguing with this individual consciousness in your dream reality. Simply make the conscious decision that you will do so when you go to sleep, and you will also begin to see results from that. Because on that level, you are both wholly in communication as each other. All right?
All right. Again, I thank you.
Exciting dream.
Thank you very much.
At this timing, we will allow a short break, and we will resume.
How's it going?
Great. There's questions over here, and if anybody wants tapes or videos, you can see Liz. Wave Liz.
All right, okay. Sharing.
How's it going, Bashar, as you create Going to Go?
It's going rather well as we create Going to Go, thank you. How has everything gone for you?
It's gone fine.
Fine, good.
A few questions ago, somebody was asking about complete encounters, where we would meet UFO beings on a one-to-one.
Speak up so that.
Yeah, please. A few questions ago, we were talking about
Face-to-face encounters between beings of your world and beings of other worlds, yes.
So what's holding that back?
Nothing is holding it back. It is progressing nicely, thank you.
Oh, well, the obstacles to be removed as we create them, because they would sort of, I'm just guessing at this, we must have created a delicacy to our situation to not have,
in a sense,
beings
yes.
from other people come into our reality.
Yes.
What would they do? Would they blow our chakras? Or
In a sense, yes.
blow our minds?
In a sense. The idea, simply put, is that because you still consider yourselves to be segregated beings in many ways and do not function as unitized individuals, then to some degree the vibratory frequency upon which you do exist is somewhat, let us say, not meaning to be derogatory, slower than the vibratory frequency of an integrated being. And in this way, therefore, bringing a higher frequency in proximity to a lower frequency, like a faster gear and a slower gear, the faster gear will have a tendency to overwhelm the slower gear, forcing it to go faster than it is at this point built to go.
Or take all the teeth out of it.
Yes. And therefore we simply proceed at whatever rate will determine the amount or lack of friction in that gear as we perceive you to be adding more and more lubrication that will allow it to turn faster and faster and faster. That lubrication is your willingness to simply know that you create your own reality and to act that way. To enjoy light, love, service, integrity. That is the lubrication. Will allow you to spin as fast as you desire to spin. Allow you to meet head-on and face-to-face any other gear spinning at any speed. Does that assist you?
That's fine, thank you. Another question or two. The crystal generator with the Fibonacci grid, the wires coming out of the X and Y axis, leading up and down, would they be insulated, or would they just be copper bare wire?
Insulated.
They're insulated, so when they form the Fibonacci grid, they're actually touching each other, or are they?
They are insulated but touching.
Insulated but touching. And then on the anti-grav device, where you have those coils going around the copper disc, the wire goes, one coil goes around it 1,000 times, and it goes to the next one, goes around it 1,000 times, and it goes to the next one.
That is one methodology. You may also find it of benefit. There are many different configurations that the whole external idea, the whole external ring can be one coil of many thousands of windings.
So it doesn't need individual pole pieces, but
that is one configuration.
Like a tube.
Yes.
Okay, that's neat. And a while back, I don't know, a year ago or something, 3/4 maybe, we talked about some bloodstone that I had gotten, and it was reshaped in like a double cabochon teardrop, which I had made, and it was, you said it might work the same as one of those, what's the word, CLH, very low frequency watches.
It is to some extent a grounding frequency in many ways.
Is it working at that capacity?
Yes.
It's helping my vibration stay at the rate of the Earth's vibration and all that?
To some degree, yes.
On and off, or when I was...
There is still some fluctuation, but generally, yes, it will allow you to assimilate certain types of activation energy, ethereal energy, and blend and harmonize and balance that with the lower magnetic frequencies of earth energy as well. It is also in many ways, to some degree, transformational through a certain path in specific ways. Allows you to become familiar with some of the radio frequencies of your planet in that sense, to become intuitive in many subsonic ways, many lower vibratory levels, not lower in what you might call a judgmental way.
The bloodstone actually put iron into the blood, or put iron into the ethers which trickles down into the blood? Or?
It is that idea to some degree, but not just specifically that element.
What other element?
Not that that is inherent within what you call the chemical composition of the stone, but it activates within the electromagnetic atmosphere also some attraction for silicon, sulfur, magnesium, manganese, lead.
And that works from like an astral level or an etherical level?
In a sense, yes.
And represents later on at a physical level?
Not always. But will represent perhaps what you might call the emotional symbol.
Act as if you have it?
Yes.
Okay, super thanks.
Oh, super, you're welcome. Super, thank you. Shooting!
Hi, Bashar. I feel really open with my heart with you tonight, and I did something really exciting yesterday.
Oh, not you, too.
I did. I walked in and I told my associates that I worked with that I was no longer excited like I was a year ago to work there, to do the things that excited me when I first got there. And coming to that decision, I suppose like 5 weeks ago, I began to feel that I definitely was walking into just another initiation phase. And it was like I could really feel the door closing, and the thought of that, because of an old thought pattern or the old habit of worry and fear, the thought of a door closing really panicked me. And it was just yesterday that I really allowed myself the responsibility to continue walking through the process and to realize that, yes, when one door closes, another one opens, and to take the responsibility and grab hold of the doorknob and open the door and walk through.
Oh, extremely super, thank you.
It was really interesting when I did this because being honest with myself, I was able to release some stuff that I was caught up in the last 5 weeks by not being honest and willing to look at the situation and to see that I was not happy and to allow transition and change. Change has always frightened me somewhat because of the unknowingness of what was beyond. And it was really interesting because today they were coming to me and they were saying, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. I'm going to go home and I'm going to heal and rest and relax, and I'm going to locate what really excites me, and I am going to go with my excitement this time.
All right.
And a friend of mine gave me a book, and she said, if you take this book and ask it a question, just open it up, it'll open up to the right page. And I said, oh, really? And decided to give it a try. And so I formulated the question, and I thought to myself, now, I've gone with this decision, and I would really like to trust it. And I'd like a message of trust. And this is what I got when I opened the book. And it says, go in confidence in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. As you simplify your life, the laws of the universe will be simpler. Solitude will not be solitude. Poverty will not be poverty, nor weakness, weakness. And I looked at the bottom of it, and it was written by Henry Thoreau. And it was just really appropriate, and it just felt like cosmic divine guidance that I opened up the book and got that.
You mean to tell me that it's that simple? That it's that synchronistic? That's coincidental? That easy?
What I learned from it is that it's only that if you allow it to be that.
My.
And I did. I also came to the realization that not that I want to do this, but that I would be a wonderful fear instructor. I really learned that very well. And I could be a wonderful teacher, but that's not what I want to teach. But as being an actress of it, of fear and doubt and worry, I do the role just magnificently. The other thing that I wanted to really get your assistance on was last week, within a period of 3 days, I had 2 what I call accelerating dolphin dreams. In the past, with all my dolphin dreams, there has always been a state where I've witnessed the dolphins in the water. I've been in the water with them. They've swam around me, dolphins and whales and humpbacks and orcas, and I've always watched it with a little bit of wanting to stay back just a bit because I was afraid. And last Friday, I had the dream that I was in a cave. And inside the cave, I was with several other people, and the energies were very similar to the energies that I went to Hawaii with. And next to my side swam up 2 dolphins, and I had what I can only describe as very, very intense eye contact with this particular dolphin. And he looked at me, and what he said through his eyes, "Go ahead, take my fin." And I was frightened, and I realized that, and it was like having a lucid dream and realizing, yeah, you're frightened, but go ahead and take a spin. So I did with my left hand, and then he opened his mouth a little bit, and I put my right hand inside of his mouth, feeling frightened about that, and he closed on it very, very gently, and we swam. And as we swam, I was so elated and so excited that I hollered out to the energies that were in the cave with me, "Look, a dolphin, I'm with a dolphin." And at that time, other dolphins came in, and they were with the other people. What was so strange about this particular dream was after I concluded the swim with the dolphins, all of the dolphins that were in the cave turned into very tiny little puppies. And we began to nurse the puppies. And I woke up and I thought that was very strange.
Not so.
3 days later, I had another dolphin dream. I was in the ocean this time with 2 other people and swam with more than, I suppose, maybe 10 or 12 dolphins. And this time they turned into dogs. They were already mature,
very good,
very stately-looking dogs. And
nice.
They lined up in a straight row, just looking at me.
Yes.
And I would like your assistance in
the dog in your society is the symbol of service.
Tell me more.
Sirius, the star, the dog star.
Right, I get that. But
All right.
Is there more?
It is the symbol of service, and it is representative of that which was begun as an infant in your concept has now matured into full service. And therefore, full service from you means from the universe full service to you.
Okay.
You are supportive of the whole. The whole supports you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well those are nice messages in times of this particular transition. It's been, because of my resistance, I've had pain and
a resistance which no longer exists.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. One moment. Are you planning to move about in the near future?
Geographically?
Yes.
I'd be willing to.
Our perception at this time is that you may get an offer to, which will only be an extension and a representation of the excitement and the service you have begun. Enjoy. There is also an aspect of the total being that you are that in listening in and having received your understanding, your labeling of yourself as a fear instructor, found this most enjoyable, and delights in your awakening unto yourself, your awakening as a portion of creation. And to some degree this being represents the idea of your future self. The future self you are now willing to express yourself to be here and now, and the future self that you are rapidly also at the same time becoming, in more ecstasy and joy than you may even think possible to handle, but which you will. By all means continue your stellar explosion. Oh, thank you very much. Delightful dreams. Delightful dream life. Delightful delight. Hi.
Thank you, Bashar. I'm really touched by that. I wanted to briefly say that I've been investing myself heavily in the accuracy of things that you have told me about following excitement and trusting that I will be automatically supported by.
Are you receiving dividends for your investment?
It seems that way.
All right.
Yeah. I wanted to share that Paul Harvey on his broadcast today mentioned, having previously mentioned back in December, the sighting of the spacecraft in Anchorage, Alaska, I believe it was. Yeah. And he pointed out to the entire American audience that transcripts of communications between the air traffic controllers and the pilot and witnesses that were on the plane and so forth and so on are now available from the Federal Aviation Administration. Yeah.
And radar images.
Ah, good. You were listening in. I also wanted to share with you that we've made a milestone step in getting the new metaphysics book completed and in printed form.
We thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And one of the main things that I wanted to find out about, I recently have become aware, as you are aware, of another aspect of the same oversoul of which I am, whom is in my physical surroundings.
Guys.
And it's brought up ideas, questions within me about that relationship. One viewpoint might be that beings exist, and let's say that an oversoul exists, and then chooses to have different experiences, so divides itself up,
Guys.
and sends these different aspects out into different places.
Guys.
Actually, my question is, then are those aspects re-homogenized at the end of the physical life, or is it a much
Yes
longer
and no.
process than that?
Once something is created, it continues forever in many different ways. It is more, although all of this in your language is rather arbitrarily being put, but it will suffice. It is more the idea that the reabsorption always seems to take place from the point of view of every single aspect. In other words, as each and every aspect becomes more and more and more expanded, more and more aware of itself as its own oversoul, this seems to happen from the point of view of all the different aspects that the oversoul created. Each thinks it is becoming its oversoul. And so the oversoul is expanded even from that. It becomes many oversouls, in a sense. It plants many seeds, which then grow into blossoms that allow the original single flower that gave all the seeds to the soil to turn into a vast garden. Each now its own oversoul, and collectively the garden, an oversoul. and so on, and so on, and so on. Does that assist you?
Yes, it does. One last thing. I'm getting ready to leave in the morning to go back to the Monroe Institute, and
have a good time.
And I was going to inquire whether there was anything else that you might wish to say to me before I go to do that.
If you see what you recognize as a gate, go on, jump through it. You don't have to hesitate. There will be nothing that you could possibly encounter that you wouldn't be able to use in a positive way. And like another individual said, if you might, for a moment, experience a little anxiety, enjoy it, and it will turn into excitement. Ride it, flow with it, jump. You will be supported. Jump through that gate. You will discover many ways this time that you can translate the gate, so you will begin to recognize the gate in its many forms. For you have seen it many times, but not necessarily understood it for what it was, simply because of the previous definitions you might have had within it. This time, many of those definitions are no longer with you. You will begin to see the gate and the doorway to your higher self in many different forms and recognize them all to be the same gate. Enjoy.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
Wanted to ask you about the whales.
Okay.
When they're doing their whale songs, are they doing it to the other whales?
Yes, many times.
And if and when they're doing it to us or our consciousness, what is their message to us?
Whatever you feel it to be, however it sweeps you up, however you wish to discover the totality that you are. For again, recognize, by your analogy, a whale is a physicalized embodiment of a dolphin oversoul. Many dolphins are a whale, in a sense. It is as if you had a physical being to represent your oversoul at the same time that all of its fragments existed as well. It is simply that in your land environment, this will not necessarily need any other symbol other than your own physical body. In the water environment, where there is more expansiveness, they have been able to create a physical reflection and interpretation of their own higher consciousness to be embodied in the form you call a whale. So it puts you in touch reflectively with the fact that you, while in that energy, and any time you wish to create that energy for yourself, are in the vibratory frequency of and as your own higher consciousness. You are experiencing the scope of your power, the scope, the distance of your express ability. As rapidly as that song travels through the water to all the ears to which it travels, you also exist in a ethereal-magnetic medium through which your thoughts are always traversing and always singing to all the other minds upon your world. Sing your own song if you feel so moved by the song of that whale, and you will be expressing the harmonic vibration of your own higher self, and you will be that expression. That is what it is a reflection of. It is like being in the presence of a reflection of you as your total higher self. So sing the song you are moved to sing. Does that assist you?
I just want to clarify. It's more like their messages in their symbolic form that they're there than actually a message like the dolphins have for us.
From time to time, there may be a specific message. But generally speaking, the oversoul will communicate more in generalities. In feeling, in emotion, in mood, in tone, in quality, in light, in love.
Okay. I have a question. I'm reading a book called I Remember Lemuria, and it's an older book, and the main character is Meon, and they were talking about Atlantis and not a lot of Lemuria, but they were talking about the sun's rays effect on people, and that's why they didn't grow as big as they did on dark planets. Are we talking about the same sun? Does it have the same effect on us?
In a sense, to some degree, you will recognize that certain vibrations you have created yourself to be allow you to experience certain vibrations from your central star that has actually removed enzymes and acids from your system that has not only in many ways in the past stunted some of the physiological growth you are capable of, but also reduced your physical longevity. Now you are regaining that again because you are becoming a vibration that automatically screens out the idea of what you might term the harmful rays and allows you the benefit of the light in other ways. So you are, as you have been observing in generations, not only growing taller but also living longer, as you used to long ago.
Okay, and he said that he made a lot of tablets, not tablets, but something on metal that he put all over the place. And at the time the book was printed, they said none had been found yet. I was wondering if there was any found yet or in the near future.
Some have been sensed. Some have been understood. None have been unearthed directly. Not yet. There are still changes, timings, encounters that must come to pass before you will be able to decipher with your own senses where these tablets lie. When you can find them in that way, that is when you will be able to read them, because you will only be able to read them with your heart. There will be nothing for you to be able to translate physiologically, linguistically.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Sure.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you.
I just wanted to share with you that this gives me great joy to share this vibration with you. My first question is the best way to handle or to cease negative thoughts that I suppose come from what is known as the alter ego or the Antichrist. What would you suggest in that area?
Allow yourself to recognize that as you become more expanded, as you contain more of creation within you, you're obviously going to become aware of more of it. And that includes the negative as well as the positive. But just because you are aware of it doesn't mean you have to put it into practice. Again, the idea is to go back to your conscious commandment, and we can now couple this with the concept of the library analogy that we have used and shared with many of you from time to time. Think of all of these ideas, all of these thoughts, as the books in a library. They are all sitting upon the shelves. You can go into the library. You can take any one of them off the shelf. You can open it up. You can read it. All of the joyful books, all of the scary books, you can read them all. The only one that goes home with you is the one you consciously decide to check out. So it does not matter how many of these thoughts pass through you or where they come from. You are going to be cognizant that it is a probable way to exist. But if you simply know that it is not the way you prefer, then you will not put energy behind it and you won't have to worry about it. Worrying about the fact that they are there puts energy behind them. If they occur, let them occur. Examine them for what they are. Use them from a perspective that you can get something out of them. Maybe some scenario will occur in your life that will allow you to hearken back to the thought you had, so that you will have a perspective, an experience that may assist you in assisting someone else. When you become familiar with the idea of what negativity is, then when someone may seek your assistance, you will have a frame of reference to discuss the idea from. Simply use it in whatever way, shape, or form allows you to continue to express your service in light and love and integrity. Does that assist you?
Very much, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
My next question is, I wish to visit Inner Earth.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Can you give me an approximate
That way.
and time?
Not really.
Okay.
However, there are many areas upon your planet that are relatively conducive, that contain energy vortexes that may allow you at least the beginning of a communication with that particular dimension of experience. For do remember, it is another dimensional plane, and in your dimension is not literally in your planet. That is the apparent direction you will appear to go in encountering those beings, but it is on a slightly different vibratory plane. You're not physically in your dimension inside your planet. You follow me? One very strongly conducive area to acclimate to the energy that can put you in touch with their consciousness is in what you call the Shasta area or the Sedona area. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And enjoy all the surprises and the unexpected way in which they will appear.
Got it. I have 2 more questions, if you don't mind.
Could you make them
Louder?
like just 1 or 2?
One more?
Get so many people.
Sure. Let's see, which one?
Oh, decision.
The shortest one.
All right, the shortest one. If one wishes to channel a wondrous entity as yourself, a wondrous entity like
wondrous
that,
entity.
what could we do? Anything?
Be yourself. And any agreements you have made will express themselves in whatever way they need to allow you to continue to be who you are. Do not forget that when it comes right down to it, of course, as you have said, you are a wondrous being, and channeling is only doing what you love to do. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Happy channeling. Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
Could you tell us the significance of pi?
Yes. We can tell you our perspective of the significance to us.
Okay.
It is the gate. It is representative, mathematically, if you wish, of that factor in the universal web, in the universal matrix, in the so-called universal structure. It is that factor that always allows you to expand that structure so that it does not become fixed. It is the doorway out, always, because it has no settled, fixed value. And yet it is the product of all the other settled and fixed values in creation. And it is also the seed of all the settled and fixed values. But it, in and of itself, is the elusive principle that always allows you to expand upon any structure that you have taken and created out of it. Will that suffice?
Is there more that you could say?
Well, it is no accident that it is connected most often with the idea of the circle, because that lets you know that there is no beginning and no ending. It is perpetual in that sense. It is perhaps one of the most precisely representative symbols, if you will, for eternity itself. It is the factor that allows eternity to always exist. It is the expression of the fact that eternity always will exist.
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much. It is the open-ended door, and it goes in all directions.
Good. It suddenly dawned on me today, or I seem to become aware that I've probably been in touch with extraterrestrials of some sort.
Many of you, in a sense, have had many dialogues with different levels of consciousness, some of which you may call extraterrestrial, yes.
Well, fairly continuously.
Yes.
I was wondering specifically of your perception of this awareness I just had.
It is very strongly there.
Could you have a sense of what level or region or...
Not at this time. At this time, we would simply suggest to you that you glean the information for the information's sake, see if it works for you, learn how to work with it, and that will bring with it all the recognition that is necessary.
Okay.
Thank you.
And this process you speak about of blending the feminine and masculine energy within each of us,
yes.
I can't seem to come up with a sense in my imagination of what the result will be after it's blended. So I would like to have that.
If I throw a ball to you, will you catch it?
Yes.
If I ask you to throw it to me, will you throw it back?
Yes.
Receptivity, sending off. Assertiveness, receptivity.
I understand them separately, but...
It is the same thing. You contain them both now. Blending them, in a sense, will allow you to use whatever aspect, whatever polarity is needed to be used in whatever situation is conducive of using that particular aspect.
So the idea of blended doesn't mean that it's sort of a neutral smush.
No.
It simply means that you have the capacity.
It is more of a certainty to allow them both to be utilized when they are needed, rather than a suppression of one or the other of them because you refuse to acknowledge that you contain that and can interact in that way.
But at any given moment, if you're expressing what is called masculine or that would be what you're expressing, and if you're expressing more feminine, that would be what you're expressing.
In a sense, yes, but also at the same time, your willingness to express either of them will also change the quality of your expression of any of them.
Good.
Does that assist you?
Yes, very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
I'm working in the capacity as a healer and
oh joy.
assisting people in healing themselves. And
thank you very much.
And I'm a student, and I still have a lot to learn.
So do I. We are all students, and we are all teachers. That's why it's so much fun.
But one area that I still am having difficulty with is...
one moment.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sir. All right, ma'am. Would you, now you do not have to, but would you do me a little tiny favor?
Sure.
Oh, thank you very much. Instead of expressing the idea as something you are having difficulty with, would you care to say something I am still exploring with my curiosity?
Okay. Yes, I'm exploring.
Oh,
well, when people have created a disease,
yes.
Obviously, the more intense the disease, the more resistance there is in healing themselves.
Maybe.
It seems.
Maybe.
So, my difficulty is listening to a certain extent. I need to work on the listening aspect of these people. But also the sometimes simplistic view that just by, even though I believe myself that, that if you're perfect that you will overcome these blocks that you created, people who are already caught up in that disease process,
yes.
It's very difficult to express any ideas like that to them.
Well, that is all right.
Yeah, okay. It would...
Letting that be all right is the first step toward truly helping them. Because you are letting them be who they are.
Yes. Then what?
Then they see the unconditional love in you, and that is what allows them to relax about themselves and not judge themselves so harshly, which is what has created the disease usually in the first place.
Then what is... If I get to the point where I can explain to them, how
about this? Why not trust that any and all individuals, if you know you are being of service as a healer, any and all individuals that you attract into your life will only be the ones that, no matter whether you see how you are helping them, will only be the ones that you are helping.
Yes.
You follow me? Yes. That trust also will allow them the opportunity for more freedom of movement as to how they help themselves. Because you will not be placing upon it the expectations upon yourself as to how you think you must help them. So simply assume that if you know you are a healer, then whatever way they are interacting with you is the type of healing they need. Even if it is just reassurance of your presence, your love, your faith in them, your belief in them, your willingness to simply be with them. Whatever it is, that's what they needed to get out of it. And you did your job perfectly.
That I'm very successful in a lot of times, but then there's still that need sometimes to have to explain things.
Explain what you feel like explaining.
Yeah,
but again, do it simply because it gives you joy in explaining it, not because they have to understand it. It is all the attitude that will make the difference. And they do understand it on some level. Again, they don't have to have an intellectual understanding, an analytical understanding, to understand it when and where they need to. You may simply plant a seed that will blossom later. When they are willing to shine the light of their own soul upon that seed to let it grow. But at least you have helped them plant it. Even if you plant it in the darkness for now, eventually they'll walk into the light and it will grow. You do not have to demand that you see the results exactly as you think you should. Does that let you lighten up a little bit on yourself?
Yes.
All right. You are doing just wonderfully. Your desire speaks for itself. and you are willing to be a loving being. What more do you really need to be? You are doing the best you know how to do, and that is all you need to do. And that is what makes a difference.
Thank you.
You have an impact, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
All right. Then enjoy the impact you have. And that, paradoxically, is what will allow you to expand and experience more of the impact that you are co-creating with other individuals. Does that help you?
Yes.
Well, thank you for allowing you to heal you.
Thank you, Bashar.
You are most welcome. Do you, by the way, do you like gardening?
Yes.
Have you given much thought to doing it?
Yes, I have gardened before. And I have thought of moving out of LA to do more of that type of thing.
Off with you then. It will give you the centering that will allow you to know you are expanding in many loving ways, and the energy you will feel in being in touch with your earth will allow you to truly beam that from your heart. You will learn much about healing and centering simply from nature itself, which, after all, is a reflective aspect of your own creatorhood. Thank you very much. Sharing.
Aloha and mahalo.
Aloha.
I'm so happy to hear the previous conversation went directly into my heart, and now I have my own questions, of course.
All right. Oh, of course.
Yes.
All right.
I am from Maui.
All right.
And since December, it seems that we've had a lot of space activity on Maui.
Or I've been there longer than
yes,
that, but yes, there has been an acceleration. Yes,
very much increase.
Yes.
Yeah. And at the same time, for myself, I guess what I want to hear from you is whether I'm on target.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
You do not need me to tell you that.
Well, with my thinking is that what's been going on for me, and not only just me, but several other friends, is that it seems that we've been being taken out of body at night.
You have been choosing to go.
Yes. And waking up between 4 and 6 a.m. in the morning.
Typical.
Wide awake.
Yes.
With tremendous surges of energy.
Yes.
Lots of them.
Yes. You find it enjoyable?
I do. I'm really so thrilled for the contact.
Oh, thank you. Do not forget that from our point of view, you are a contact too.
Thank you.
This is not just one way. You are alien to me. We thank you for your contact.
Well, thank you. Well, I've asked to be of service, and it certainly has been happening in, of course, the most unusual ways. But this particular energy that seems to be moving through me,
yes.
I'm assuming that my vibratory rates have been speeded up a lot with this.
You can only experience the vibratory energy of the level you are on. So, yes.
Okay, well, what's been happening is that I've been going through a lot of energy changes.
Of course.
Tremendous energy changes. And
typical of the times.
Well, including, at first I thought it was hormones. And it doesn't feel like it's the hormones alone.
Well, do understand that any energy change you go through will affect every single idea of your physical body as well. So it is that, too.
Well, I'm experiencing...
Mostly it is your enzymes.
Okay. Well, I'm experiencing tremendous energy rushes, and including in that is a lot of perspiration.
Oh, yes. Some of it seems like fevers, yes.
Yes, they'll come on all of a sudden.
This is a typical fourth density symptom. typical fourth density symptom.
Okay, is there anything that I can do to help to balance that? Because I
You
don't
are.
want to not bring in the vibration.
Oh, no. You are doing just fine. The idea is to simply use the energy in whatever way excites you the most, and you will balance that idea out. The only reason you are feeling it as the fever is, again, because of the comparison between the idea of the old you, the slower vibration, the idea of the new you, the faster vibration. And when you bring these two ideas together, the different rate of vibration causes friction in your body that causes fever.
Mm-hmm.
So when you simply use the energy, when you allow yourself to become that higher vibration and stop comparing yourself to the old you and comparing yourself to the new you, just be who you are right now, all the vibratory frequencies will balance, blend. You will acclimate to the energy by simply doing more with it, and then it will all balance out.
Okay, so
you are not alone in this symptom, by the way.
No, I'm aware of that. Thank you. And that did make me feel better, too. Actually, what happened was I was working with someone with healing, and in doing that, I found that they were having the same symptoms that I was. And we were
it is only indicative of the flow of energy through you, but through a system that you still perhaps, a little bit here, a little bit there, don't think can handle it. So it heats up from the friction of the speed of the passage of the new energy.
Okay, well now, since I've been here on the mainland, which has been for about the past month, I haven't been experiencing the same nighttime contacts that I was experiencing in Maui.
It is time for you to experience other things. You are still experiencing them, but now they are translating in different ways.
Not in the same way.
The idea is to translate that into action, into doing, not to simply have conversations for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. Well, on the visual level, I've had a lot of experience with ship, and I haven't found that in this area, and I wondered if there was a reason for that.
To some degree, yes. The amount of population will make it usually less likely. The type of energy going on right now is a different sort of energy, much more accelerated in a different way than what you call your Hawaiian area. The Hawaiian gate is usually, let us say, simply more conducive to casual sightings. Many individuals here really would find that there are many sightings around, but many of them in many ways are simply too busy to notice.
Very true.
But again, the timing of any particular place, being what it is simply conducive to a different rate of interaction. That is all. When in Rome, as you say. So simply allow yourself to understand that there is a different expression of the energy where you are now than where you were. Not that the energy has gone anywhere, not that you do not have it. It is simply different terminology, which you may not recognize because you're not familiar with it. Doesn't mean it isn't there. The signs come out in a different way. This particular area you are in now is an area of more physical action. And so many of the signs, many of the conversations will manifest themselves more likely in the actions that people do. You follow me?
Yes, I think so.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have one other question, and I'll make it fast, and that is, I deal with crystals a lot, and I've recently found myself very drawn to kunzite.
Define.
I wondered, the information that I got was that the kunzite is a bridge of the levels, and I wondered if you could express a little bit on that.
We can perceive the connotation also of what you call a ladder, in a sense. It is an ancient symbology. It is connected, as we perceive the definition you are giving it, the energy you are giving it, into many ancient descriptions, some of which stretch through the ideas, the areas you call the Himalayan gate, Indian gate in that sense, some of which also connects through the what you call Native American gate, some of which connects into Lemurian gate. Let us say, if we were to express an embodiment, there would be a very large but very soft being or energy connected with that particular symbol that can easily carry you through different levels. It spans all the levels and so functions as a bridge in the sense that if you rest within the archetypal hands of that concept, it can very easily elevate you from level to level, since for that energy, it is no great distance at all. A bridge in the sense that it compacts all apparent linear destinations into the here and now. A bridge that has no length, because it needs none. Because it is a bridge that recognizes that everything is here and now. Does this assist you?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Tender and strong gravitational dreams to you of the earth itself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
Hi. A few months ago, I, in speaking with you, had expressed a lot of questions and exploring that I was going through about my whole life in general. And you told me to cloak myself with abundance.
Right.
And that the doors would start opening. Well,
yes.
I've taken your advice. I've done that, and the doors are opening, and it's wonderful.
Fine, too. You wear the cloak well.
Thank you. What's really interesting about it, though, is that the walls around me in my house are falling apart. And
the old symbols will break down.
Yeah. Well, I thought of a lot of. Of course, the first thing was, I've got to move. This means it's time for me to leave this place. I've been here long enough. Then I thought of by the way, water was dripping through the walls, which caused the walls to start falling apart.
Life itself and the flow will break down old rigid concepts.
Okay. Well, that's basic. That's what I wanted to know, if that's kind of your idea of what...
Yes.
Yeah.
Many times you may interpret these things as negative, but they are actually positive in that sense.
No, I saw it as a positive thing. I realized...
No, I did not mean you specifically.
Oh, yes. Okay. I also wanted to know, when symbols like that start presenting themselves to us, are those little divas that are doing things like this for us, or
in a sense, but it is still an extension of your own consciousness. Mm-hmm. Divas are extensions of the archetypal substream of your collective consciousness.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to ask you is my cat, Lucina, has leukemia, and I've been treating her with a homeopathic vet. I see her increasingly get better, but I was wondering if you have any...
Well, generally the cat in your world is the fourth density symbol, and many times will take upon themselves the diseases that represent some of the transformations you are going through, so that you will not have to be incapacitated yourself.
Yes, I understand that.
Yes.
Thank you.
So as you strengthen, the animal's reflection in that sense can also strengthen.
Mm-hmm. Aside from that, I do realize that she's reflecting a lot of what I have been going through or went through.
Okay.
Aside from that, is there anything anything that you have to suggest in terms of potions or liquids or herbs or any kind of remedies that I could give her aside from what I'm doing with my homeopathic veterinarian?
At this time, because of the nature of the interaction, what we find we can suggest is perhaps to present several herbs to the animal and see which one the animal responds to. The animal will know.
Okay.
And that way you will develop a type of communication with the animal that will let you know that there is a clear and conscious way in which you can communicate in your terminology.
How would I give them to her? In liquid form?
What we are suggesting is that you simply show it to
Show
her.
it. Oh, great. Okay. Well, that's easy.
The animal smell it. Let the animal sense it. Okay. The animal will know. Go through the different varieties that your imagination suggests to you.
Great.
One can be comfrey.
Oh, okay.
You may begin there.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will thank the animal as well that has been with you through so many lives.
Yes. You said she was from an Atlantean lifetime,
all the way back. Even before that, the energy has been with you.
Uh-huh. You said she represented something very magical.
All cats do.
in me. Oh, all right. Is there something more that you can give me besides the idea that all cats do, or something more specific, Henry?
Walk in your dream with this animal through the fertile jungles of your imagination, and you will allow you and she to express the true fundamental power of your stature. Your abundance, its abundance, her abundance. Let it suit you well. Walk through the abundance of nature. Let nature balance you.
Thank you.
Let you being nature balance you automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the power of walking in your natural state together. That will revitalize and blend and balance the symbols, and in a sense draw you together as one.
Great. One more very small question. Francesca, Daniel's daughter, would like to know if her great-grandfather, if she is her great-grandfather, if she has reincarnated as her great-grandfather, Francesca.
It is our perception that there are connective lines in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
For now, we can say no more.
Thank you.
We thank you. At this timing, allow us to extend to each and every one of you, once again, our unconditional love and our joy in allowing us to experience the gift of your consciousness, individually and collectively. Thank you for being our teacher and our sharer, and for being willing to be our equals. We thank you for co-creating this dream with us this day of your time. Exciting dream lives to you all. Once again, conscious commandment. Choose, then live what you choose, trusting that all the details will take care of themselves. Fall into place according to your conscious commandment. You are in control right now. You never have been out of control. Wake up and live your dreams. We thank you. Fond and unconditionally loving good day to you all.
Good
night.
Hi, Dawn. How'd it go?
Great. Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you all for being here tonight.
A few quick announcements. If you want an audio tape, you can have it tonight at tonight's session. We have 2 high-speed tape duplicators. You can have it tonight.